Hello, welcome to the Golden Era and You podcast, where you keep track on Governor Moino's contract with Akwa Ibom people as encapsulated in their RISE agenda. My name is Amazing Anebet Francis, and I am your host. On today's episode of this Golden Era and You podcast, we are playing host to Mr. Raphael Edem, the immediate past Special Assistant to the Governor on Public Affairs, and he is currently on this administration team as Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Brand Management and Marketing. We are here to discuss the Akwa Ibom brand and their RISE agenda. Don't go anywhere. Welcome to the show, Mr. Raphael Edem.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And your cap actually suits you because you are the man in charge of branding and marketing the Akwa Ibom brand. So please, let's start with the RISE agenda. What you have to say to the person that is listening to us, or a first timer that is just hearing the word RISE agenda. What does it mean?
Okay, the RISE agenda is the economic development blueprint of His Excellency the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Moino. RISE actually is an acronym. A good number of people already know this, but then for the benefit of those who will be hearing for the very first time, the A there stands for agriculture, the R there stands for rural development, I stands for infrastructure maintenance and consolidation, the S there stands for security management and enhancement, and of course the E there stands for educational advancement. Now these are just 5 areas. There's a broad-based, there are more areas of concentration for development of government, a good number of which could fall under these or could also stand on their own. So the RISE agenda, of course, is the economic development plan of His Excellency the Governor. It is his way of ensuring that he meets the expectation of the people of Akwa Ibom who graciously gave him a mandate in March of 2023 to lead them for another 4 years in the first instance, and by the grace of God, and by, of course, the support of the same people, another 8 years for 2 terms. And so His Excellency the Governor is very development-oriented and is very rural area-centric. He's talked about the fact that as much as possible, he wants to see how we can get government to the rural areas, how we can simplify government, how we may not be able to, how we can do things simply, how we can make people feel the impact of government practically all through the entire state. So this is something that is going to be done through the RISE agenda. There's a publication, there's a book, there's quite a whole lot of information that is already out. But the areas of development, be it in education, be it in healthcare, be it in security, be it in sports, be it in youth development, be it in women development and empowerment, be it, of course, also in manpower and capacity development, all of these are different areas where the RISE agenda sets out what needs to be done, how we intend to get there, what the people need to do to also support the RISE agenda, and how the citizens and the government and the government can work together so that all of us get to a single destination. And that destination is a place where the people of Akwa Ibom can look back at the era where Pastor Moino served, and they say that he was able to meet their expectations. So, that's the synopsis of what the RISE agenda stands for. And so far, of course, I'm sure we've been witnesses to what already has been done in the different areas. The governor has been in office maybe 8 months or thereabouts. And then in those 8 months, we've actually witnessed quite a lot that has been done. There's direction that we have seen, the physical things that we can also see. And there's also some policy rejigging here and there. There are a few things that have been changed so that they can improve. The idea is not to reinvent the wheel, as it were. The idea is to see what are the things that we used to do that we can do better, or we can do cheaper, or we can make it reach a larger number of people. Yes. Because in truth, that's exactly the job of government. It's government's job to ensure the welfare and the security of the people that it has a mandate over. And so His Excellency the Governor, working with his team, and hopefully also, and thankfully also, getting the buy-in of the people of Akwa Ibom State, is hoping to be able to meet the expectations of the people through the RISE agenda. So that's how we can look at it.
Okay, you just mentioned the buy-in of the people.
Sure.
Now, you are in charge of the Department of Brand Management and Marketing.
Yes.
How is this department helping the government, the administration of Pastor Moino, to get the people, Akwa Ibom people, to buy in to the programs and policies of this administration?
Okay, fine. Thank you very much. The RISE agenda program of His Excellency the Governor has different focal areas. There are also different representations. There are visual representations. There's their RISE logo. A good number of people know it. That is supposed to actually stay, of course, in the minds of the people. It's supposed to be a visual representation and a visual way of the people connecting with the government's program. And of course, we as a department, it is our responsibility to ensure that everything that's got to do with their rights agenda, the people of the state and even beyond, get to see, get to appreciate, get to participate, get to also have a buy-in. And so we do that working with other MDAs, other ministries, departments, and agencies of government, ensuring that there's information about what government is doing. That information is not going to come in a very analytical way. We're not spreading news, more or less. We're getting people to understand, in this area, this is what government is doing. Now, this is what you can do, or this is how you can benefit from that. So that is going on. There are radio campaigns. There are television campaigns on local and national television. There are campaigns on print media. There's a large campaign on social media, different social media handles. The Department of Brand Management and Marketing is active on the handle AKS Brand Management on Facebook, on Twitter, on Threads. There's a YouTube page and even also on Instagram. And so, a good number of people around the world now do a lot of business on social media. So there's quite a lot of activity going on social media there. There are also campaigns that we run. There are some more are already in the offing also. We're hoping that we're going to be able to do some street raves and some other empowerment activities so that people can actually do key in here. So beyond the publicity, beyond the promotion, we're also helping to pass on the information about building the Akwa Ibom brand.
Exactly.
Now, the job of building a brand is an all-comers affair. It's not necessarily a government affair. Because when people think of a particular brand, there are certain things that come into their head.
Yeah, let me come in. Before we start talking brand management and marketing,
yes,
what constitutes the Akwa Ibom brand?
Exactly. Now, the Akwa Ibom brand is, what picture do you have in your head when the name Akwa Ibom actually hits you? Whether you're an Akwa Ibomite or especially if you're a non-Akwa Ibomite. When you hear Akwa Ibom, what comes to your mind? And that's why we want to espouse our positive values. That's why we want to espouse the good and the best out of Akwa Ibom State. So we want people to know us for who we are, very hardworking people, a very industrious people, a very resourceful people. We want to be able to sell Akwa Ibom for what it is, an excellent investment destination. A place, of course, where you can find some excellent tourism potentials. We want to be able to sell Akwa Ibom for what it is, which is actually one of the most, if not the most peaceful place in Nigeria to live, to work, to do business. A place that has got excellent investment potential in different areas, from oil and gas to agriculture to natural gas to a whole lot more that other people can do. We want people to see Akwa Ibom State for the rich coastline where there is immense potential for activation of blue economy. We want people to know Akwa Ibom as a people who are welcoming, as a people who are warm, as a people who also are cooperative with development, as a people who accept whatever it is that is going to definitely bring glory to the state and also give an opportunity for even investors to be happy that they came here. So the Akwa Ibom brand is, according to what we do, the best and the brightest of Akwa Ibom State. That is the picture that we want people to know. And it is a job that government has its own part, but then the people also, the citizens of the state, the residents of the state, have a greater majority of the work to do. How do I mean? For every single 99 good things that come out of this place as news, as information, be it on social media, be it on traditional media, be it even by spoken word. Every single time there is something negative that happens here, or people say here, it demarcates the state.
Okay.
Which is why, I like to tell people that there is no perfect place anywhere on the face of the earth. And but then there are a number of places that once people mention them, the picture you have of that place is positive. Okay. Or there's also a place where you'd have, there are places where people make it look like it's El Dorado. Well, I didn't mention anywhere. But we know Akwa Ibom to be a place that I think it is outsiders who appreciate our state even more. Okay. Just yesterday, Valentine's Day, we were running a campaign on social media, which is still ongoing, the I Love Akwa Ibom campaign. Yeah, and you see a number of people who don't come from here, especially youth corps members who come to serve in Akwa Ibom, who love the place, who compare it to where they have been to in other places, and they know that this is an excellent investment, this is an excellent settlement, this is an excellent family destination. So it is up to us then who are from here, whether we're working in government or we're citizens, to also ensure that we contribute our quota, to ensure that the collective of the story that comes out of Akwa Ibom, that emanates from Akwa Ibom, is positive. This will be possible when our actions speak well, when the way that we relate to people speak well of us, when our customer service, and customer service, I'm not necessarily referring to those who are doing business, even courtesy, even in the way we relate with people, even in the way we communicate with people, even in the way we speak about our state. Because more often than not, you find that it is the people who come from here who necessarily do not have good things to say about the state. Now, this is a place that an outsider appreciates so very much. And sometimes, maybe it is because very many of our people may not really have had so much of an opportunity to go to surrounding states, even nearby states, where they can do comparisons. You understand? They can compare and contrast. But I've been to every state in this country, at least once. Most places, I think 29 states I've been to more than 5 times, and I can say that every state has its own unique advantages. But if you want to look at it from, Akwa Ibom State has an aggregate of advantages that is more than most of its contemporaries. Our job now is to see how we can build this Akwa Ibom brand. The things we do, the things we say, and the things we refuse to do and say.
The Department of Brand Management and Marketing was created by Governor Udom Emmanuel, the immediate past governor of Akwa Ibom State. And now we have the Arise agenda on board.
Yes.
What impact does the Arise agenda have on the Akwa Ibom brand?
Okay, well, at the moment, is both of them relate. The Arise agenda is about Akwa Ibom. Akwa Ibom currently is also about the Arise agenda. Because, like I spoke about, the Arise agenda is economic development plan of His Excellency the Governor, Pastor Moino. It is also a clarion call also for people to actually, as the word arise means, rise.
Okay.
And the rising means rising to potential. The rising means rising to see things that they could not have seen before. Getting to do things that they may not have thought it was possible to do before. More or less a follow-up through the campaigns that practically all the states governors in these states have done. There has been a need. All the leadership of this state, especially civilian leadership, have seen a need to get people to key in, to get people to really get to work, to get people to realize their potential. The first civilian governor of Akwa Ibom State, His Excellency Akwa Ibom, God rest his soul. When he came into office in 1991, started a campaign against the ETOC syndrome. All of these were strategic mental shift attempts by the government. His Excellency Architect Obawata, second civilian governor, came in and he launched the very successful EACOM, Ethical and Attitudinal Reorientation Project. All of that aimed at a mind shift. His Excellency, now Senate President, then Governor Godswill Akpabio, came in and they started the Akwa Ibom Odoke campaign, where we needed to see that all that we need in this state is actually here for us to be able to thrive. And of course, His Excellency Governor Udom Emmanuel, immediate past governor of the state, came in, of course, and with the Dakada initiative. All of this. And then, of course, His Excellency Governor Moino coming with the Arise agenda. Every single one of these programs is a program that is intending to get Akwa Ibom people to see that in these states there are opportunities. In these states they can live, work, and do business and thrive. In this state where a good number of people just are happy to sit back and fold their arms, we've had people come from other states with practically nothing, and they have been able to make a whole lot out of themselves, knowing that sometimes it's not the location that really does matter. It is what the person can see in that particular location. So to answer your question very quickly, the Arise agenda and the Akwa Ibom state government, is the government that is getting the people to rise, to join the government, to key into the government project, so that in the long run, the citizens themselves, because Akwa Ibom is not an amorphous entity. Akwa Ibom is not an entity that exists in a vacuum. Akwa Ibom is Akwa Ibom because of the people who are Akwa Ibomites. So once it is actually bodes well for the people, it also bodes well for the state.
There's a trend on social media right now where almost young people are saying, oh, if you want to succeed in business, in career, in do anything, just leave Akwa Ibom. How do we get all these people that talk down on the state's brand to become stakeholders of the Akwa Ibom brand?
Okay, first off, I think, yes, I agree with you that there's a whole lot of people who define success differently. Because for me, I think the first thing one needs to be able to define is, what is your definition of success? And I like making comparisons that are feasible, comparisons that are justifiable. We should compare apples with apples, not apples with oranges.
Okay.
When people want to talk about leaving the state, especially if it's in this country, there are 3 major places to talk about: Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. And now those are places that have got potentials, that have got more population. We've got, of course, we need to be realistic. A good number of those places, over time, Lagos was a former federal capital. It's got practically everything there. And those are places that have got larger economies. But the point is this: is everyone in Nigeria going to move to those 3 different places? How many other places that have similar stories or similar potentials of Akwa Ibom are doing better than Akwa Ibom State? And like you said, in these places where people think everything is going well, there are also people in those places who do not have anything to do.
Exactly.
I've done it for a very long time. There was a time that you went out of the state in the course of your work and you came back here. There are some of us who have had to work in different areas of the state. So in the long run, someone wrote a book and said, as a man thinketh, so he is. If you think that a place is barren, maybe the barrenness is deep within you, which is why part of our job is to ensure that people really need to be able to look back and see, what can you really do? What have you got to offer? There are certain skills that are environment dependent. Of course, I agree with that. If someone is looking at selling, learning to do cattle rearing, I'm not sure Akwa Ibom is the best place for it. Right. If somebody wants to learn how to do palm kernel business, I am not sure Sokoto is the best place for it. You understand? So sometimes there are people who are better suited for different places. There's nothing wrong with people moving. There's nothing wrong. It happens everywhere in the world. It's a free market and there's free movement. But the point is, I do not see how somebody who has a negative mindset in Akwa Ibom will all of a sudden develop a positive mindset in Ogun State. So more often than not, it comes back to what exactly do you want? What is your definition of success? Like you've rightly noted, in this state, there are opportunities. It's not El Dorado. We've not been able to tick all the boxes. Yeah. But which place really has all the answers? So it depends. If there are people who see Akwa Ibom for what it is, I've listed out some of the positives here, and these are incontrovertible facts. This is the state that is the most accessible, one of the most accessible anywhere on the African continent, by land, by sea, by air. This is a state that has some of the best infrastructure you would find here. So what exactly are people looking for? If I remember my secondary school lectures, they were talking about factors of production. What are the things that inspire? What are the things that make people want to settle at a particular place? If you check, the bulk of that is here. Akwa Ibom may not have as large a market as some other places, but the truth is that we can actually build and grow our own. We need to talk to our people more. We need to also celebrate and patronize ourselves a whole lot more. We need to be able to look back on what our positives are. The places that we feel are better than us have their own negative stories. But that's not what defines those places. So if we're able to put the best part of us in front of us and look at the positive side, we're in a better position to actually do a whole lot more. Now, government and the governor is a typical example. For God's sake, the gentleman grew up in Lagos, lived and started working in Lagos. The circumstances that brought him back to Akwa Ibom were not particularly fantastic. But then he has been able to make not just something, he's been able to make a huge success out of it. And now he's getting an opportunity to translate that success he's had in the private sector into the public sector. If no story encapsulates how the Akwa Ibom story can be, how the Akwa Ibom experience can make one successful, I think we've seen that in the gentleman who is governor of Akwa Ibom State today. So I think it's a model for a good number of people to follow. After all, in those places that we think are much better, there are a whole lot more people who are still looking for where other places.
Somebody came back from Abuja back to Akwa Ibom.
People who move from Akwa Ibom to Lagos, move to Lagos abroad, and then eventually still find their way back here.
Okay, so now let's talk about Akwa Ibom Ayaya, because what we're discussing here is the Akwa Ibom brand.
Yes.
And then we're telling people that Akwa Ibom Ayaya, Akwa Ibom is blessed, Akwa Ibom is a land of greatness. And your project, Akwa Ibom Ayaya. Please, can you share more light?
The Akwa Ibom Ayaya project was what we did to mark the anniversary of the state in September. We launched a campaign, and we're trying to get people to see what are the things that are beautiful about your state. Because the truth is, there are a lot of people who feel that, it's like Lagos. Sometimes people forget that Lagos is a state. They make it look like Lagos is the headquarters of a local government area. The entire Lagos, 20 local government areas, 50 LCDAs. Now, Akwa Ibom goes beyond you. Yeah. Now, how many people know beautiful places in Ikano, in East Nobolo,
The Beachy, Bisnegolo.
In very many other, there are 31 local government areas here. So we're trying to see how we can get citizens of the state to bring out the beauty that is available in different areas. Now, that we actually ran a competition, of course, with the support of His Excellency the Governor and the state government, who were gracious enough to provide the cash reward for the winners there. We wanted people to bring out the best of the places where they live in, the places where they go to, and then represent it in any kind of art form, be it as a painting, be it as a two-dimensional art, or even as photograph. So we had people go to places that the idea was for us to discover places that we didn't even know exist. And, we came up with quite a number of discoveries. Because the truth is, we need to be able to start celebrating what is indigenous to us. I'll give you a typical example. Most people who come to Akwa Ibom, because they do not live here, people who don't live here, who come here for work, for leisure, for business, they lodge in hotels. And if you go to most hotels in this town, just like most hotels you'll find almost anywhere in this country, you find photographs on the wall, and a good number of those photographs are photographs of places where the guests already are coming from.
Yeah.
You find photographs of the Eiffel Tower, you find photographs of the London Eye, you find photographs of the Statue of Liberty, you find all of those things. You seldom find anything about the state where we live in here.
Yes, that's true.
But the truth is, nobody comes to a place to come and see what they already know. They come to actually look for what they do not know.
To learn about the place.
But still, I remember somebody telling me the other day, very many years ago, some news talk. He was talking about news. He says for him, news has to be new. Now, if it is not new, it is no more news. Why am I listening to something I'm already going to? So, why am I carrying coals to Newcastle, as they say? So we want to begin to get our people to project the best that is amongst us. If tourists come to Akwa Ibom State, for instance, they're not coming to see pictures of the places where they're coming from. They're coming to see what have we got here. And if we do not learn to tell people to say, this is what we have, this is who we are, these are the things that are indigenous to us, we are actually going to kill some of those potentials of those places. So, we're, like I said, it's a department that works hand in hand with other MDAs. It's not just our individual mandate, but His Excellency the Governor is very, very passionate about sharing Akwa Ibom to the world. We know what we've got here. We need the rest of the world to know and take note. We also need a good number of our people. You do not know the number of people who live in Uyo, who do not know the number of roads that have been constructed in this state in the past 10 years. Because most of their business revolves around Uyo. Sometimes when they see photographs, I remember having to drive a friend of mine to a business place, a private sector-driven business that was opening here, because she was arguing with me that it's non-existent and the pictures are Photoshop.
Oh, wow. Because
a good number of them, they work in EU, live in EU, their children school in EU, they go to church in EU, market in EU. Nothing takes them around the state. And this is a state that has 31 local government areas with people living there. And with the mandate of government to ensure that as much as you want to enjoy life in EU, the people who live in Okorotip in Ibona also want to enjoy life. The people who live in Yariba in Okarafu local government area also want to enjoy life. The people who live in Afiansel Ranko also want to have some of the basic needs of life. So government cannot concentrate also in the state capital. There are places where government needs to be able to ensure that the people also get a new lease of life there. So as much as possible, His Excellency, that's why the governor talks about the fact that as much as possible, he will see how we can develop the rural areas. It will, to a long extent, also stem rural-urban migration. Because a number of people, I don't know, okay, well, it's your program, it's not mine. I would have loved to ask a question somebody asked me the other time. He said, which do you prefer, being urban poor or rural poor? You may want to give it some thought.
Yeah.
Because the truth is there are a number of people who live in the rural areas. If they have healthcare services not very far away, it's affordable. There's a school for their children to attend. There's a market for them to just buy goods and sell their goods. And then they can have security to go and do their business or go and do their farm work. They are fine.
Yeah, very okay.
Most of the people who have become big men in this country now, that is the story of their existence. Everyone came through that particular place. So as much as possible, we need to be able to ensure that the people who still live in our rural areas can also compete. Their children can get some of the basics. Most people in life are not looking for luxury. Most people just want to be able to keep their heads above water. And as much as possible, government will be doing this job. His Excellency the Governor, Pastor Mono, is very passionate so that the people who live in this state, the people who do business in this state, can continue to see Akwa Ibom as a place where it's not just a destination, as a place where their dreams can actually do come true. And this land of perpetual promise can eventually become land of fulfillment.
Thank you so much. We've done a lot on the Akwa Ibom brand. So let's talk about the brand of the governor himself.
Yeah.
This is the gentleman that came to office and said he wants to build a united Akwa Ibom on all fronts. How has his personality, his personal brand, influenced the Akwa Ibom brand?
Excellent question, and I think it is very obvious. Let's start with where all of us play every single day, social media. Because the truth is, there's quite a lot of influence that our leaders have on what goes on in the society. Sometimes even by doing or not doing something, or by saying or not saying something. And the governor's disposition, where he says that politics is over, it's time for governance, and everyone should be able to, there has to be a bipartisan approach to development of Akwa Ibom State, is something that has, number one, it has to a large extent reduced the political temperature of the place. It has to a large extent made place a little bit more livable. There were times in this state where you could see the whole state divided along political lines. And, from a very personal point of view, I believe that it is something that has robbed us of quite a whole lot as a people.
Yes.
Reason is this: the challenges we have in this country know no political party.
Just
At the moment, I think we're living through some of the most difficult, personally for me, it's the most difficult time I've ever had to live in my over 40 years of existence. And I am not aware of anybody who is having it easier because of a different political party. And as much as possible, if we come together and close ranks, we can actually tackle the problems headlong, or at least console each other headlong, or one way or the other. But if we have economic challenges, and then we actually come and ensure that we also exacerbate that with political differences and political challenges, we're going to have an overcharged environment which will do no one no good. I love what my friend and brother, Commissioner for Information, used to say. We should humanize politics rather than politicize humanity. So His Excellency's disposition, where he has, as much as possible, brought together the leaders of the state. He started from practically his very first program, the Akwa Ibom Dialogue. A few weeks after he got into office, called together the state, irrespective of political affiliation, called people to come and make input into his economic development plan, which of course eventually, that was where the Arise Agenda, the final document of the Arise Agenda came from. We were able to get opinion from diverse groups, from diverse interests. Because someone could be your political enemy or your political opponent, but it could have an excellent development initiative. And sometimes if you do not open your mind to accept that you may have lost something on the altar of politics, which is as fickle as they come. So I think His Excellency has been able to more or less set the tone, and the entire state, most of the people in the state have been able to follow through. Yes. And we can now see how we can work on building Akwa Ibom State. After all, yes, I know people move from party to party. Some of these political party movements are more economic than ideological. So we should be able to sit back as a people and follow the example of His Excellency the Governor and look at the problems of Akwa Ibom holistically. And I have not seen anyone who has spoken badly about him in that direction.
You have heard it from the horse's mouth. Mr. Raphael Edem is the man in charge of brand management and marketing of Akwa Ibom State. And we have a leader who understands that leadership begins with you. Leadership is becoming what you want others to become, doing what you want others to do, and saying what you want others to say. Pastor Moino, in his peaceful disposition, has shown Akwa Ibom people that we need to live in peace, irrespective of political lines. And this has also made it possible for us to cleanse and sanitize our social media space. We are no longer a state that is known for insulting our elders, but we can do better, we can do more. Let us become stakeholders of the Akwa Ibom brand, leverage on what Pastor Moino is doing with the Rise Agenda, and build a brand that will bring visitors and investors to Akwa Ibom State. Before we go, let's take the parting shot of Mr. Raphael Edem.
We have only one state. And for those of us who come from here or who have called this place home, there's no way we expect outsiders to come and do better than us. So it is our responsibility, wherever it is we find ourselves, not just to sit back and talk, but to get up and walk. to actually rise to the occasion, so that if all of us rise, it is the state that is rising. I said earlier that the state cannot exist without the people. And if we're there and we actually help each other also rise, the video made it popular when he said we rise by lifting others as much as possible. If we contribute our quota to the development of our state, wherever it is that we find ourselves, you're a market woman, you're a trader, you're an Okada rider, you are the first person that is a taxi driver at the airport that they encounter the guests, when we speak good about our state, when we do good about our state, when we meet our own obligations. Because sometimes the citizenry expect a whole lot from government, but they expect that they shouldn't also do their own part. Government has its part to play. The citizens also have got their part to play. As long as government keeps grading roads and then, or maybe creating gutters and people are dumping refuse in the gutters, we're not helping the entire system. If we play our own part, if we keep our own end of the bargain, we should be able to look back a few years down and say that we've done our best and we have elevated the Akwa Ibom brand to many notches higher than where it currently is. That is what we really do look forward to, because I believe that we owe our children, without any equivocation whatsoever, a much better living environment than the one that we currently live in.
Thank you so much. And remember to follow us on all our social media handles. The Golden Era and You podcast is that platform that helps you to track the promise and the progress of the Arise agenda. My name is Amazing Annabeth Francis, your host. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to having you on the next episode.